Hello friends, welcome to the IdeaSite Network. Our today's topic of discussion is ecology in Indian culture, and this will be a continuation from what we talked about yesterday, as we also talked about a different aspect of ecology in Indian culture, and we take it up from there. And this is, of course, as I said, a continuation, and we have this in the studio, the same subject expert, Dr. Shankar Kumar, Assistant Professor, University of Delhi. He is in the Department of History, Hindu College. Also, he has been teaching the paper Environmental Issues in India in Delhi University, and with this I would like to welcome sir and request him to begin our today's lecture. Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you, Urvashi. Good morning, viewers. Let's take it up from where we had left yesterday, because this particular interaction happens to be a continuation of what we had initiated yesterday, and we had been talking of the two themes, that is ecology and in fact two concepts, ecology and culture, and trying to see how it unfolded in a dynamic way in Indian history, Indian culture, and it is the change aspect, it is the dynamic aspect of this particular interaction between culture and ecology that we were exploring. And in this context, we would do well to recapitulate some of the things that we discussed yesterday in order to maintain a continuity. Yesterday, we spoke of the definitional aspect of ecology in terms of mankind's interdependence on environment, which included, of course, several natural entities and resources like air, water, land, the animals, the vegetation, rocks, soil, and so forth. Alongside, we also said that since the profile of all these variables keep changing, so do the aspect of mankind, the human beings. Therefore, this is an evolving, this is an ever-changing dynamic concept that we have to understand it. Then alongside that, we discussed the definitional aspect of culture in terms of not only the very usual all-encompassing way of life kind of a definition, but we try to give some degree of precision as to what actually we are intending to mean out of this word by defining it as a collective set of behaviors, norms, ethics, lifestyle, which are bequeathed to us across generations, and that tells us that some of these habits, behavior pattern, mindset, and so forth, which we tend to include under culture, actually get institutionalized in a society over a period of time. And of course, they are liable to change because, as we said, that in ecology the variables are ever changing, so the response generated by mankind across generations also undergo a change, but there is always a sense of continuity alongside that change, and that is what is the most fascinating aspect of history and culture. And in Indian situation, we began with the earliest times, that is prehistoric times. Even in prehistory, we talked of the situation which is pre-agricultural, that is Paleolithic and Mesolithic times, where the dependence of mankind on environment or natural resources was almost complete, because man was yet to produce food, and so all that one had to do was to go around scavenging or gathering the natural products which could be consumed, and also do a fair bit of hunting, that is killing of animals, and this kind of lifestyle elicited a kind of attitude towards environment or ecology which regarded nature as an extension of mankind, and we talked about it yesterday in great detail. We had also started talking of the next substantial phase of human progress or development, so to say, when we graduate to the next stage, say of animal husbandry, that is when man started tending to animals, domesticating animals, and started using animate resources, animate energy also for traction purpose and so forth, alongside, of course, several other aspects of the earlier lifestyle. And in that, we discussed, particularly with reference to Harappa also, because Harappan civilization encompasses a range of life forms, lifestyles, and adaptative strategies, and we did hint towards the fact that Harappan life included a fair or substantial portion of pastoral lifestyle as well. And we did discuss the decline of Harappan civilization with reference to the proposition of Mohenjo-daro city undergoing a decline on account of overgrazing or denudation of the hinterland around it, which probably resulted in the lack of capacity of the hinterland to sustain the cattle as well as human population of a large city like Mohenjo-daro in the Bronze Age times. And so the kind of attitude towards nature of the say pastoral communities, that is what we discussed yesterday, and we found that the extension aspect of the relationship, that is nature being the extension of human beings, that was ruptured for the first time, because pastoral life or pastoral lifestyle required, it is inbuilt into this kind of lifestyle that one has to leave a particular area, and one doesn't have to survive over one particular patch of land for a considerable period of time. So one has to keep moving, keep shifting, and therefore the kind of attitude towards the natural resources present there is not one of oneness. Rather, it appears as something other, which can be devastated, which can be ravaged upon, because it is about using it for a very short period of time, and then the community moves to some other place. So the kind of attitude that is generated in such kind of lifestyle is something which is not always conducive to what we call making nature or regarding nature as something sacred. And in fact, quite a few sociological studies have revealed that most of the Semitic religions which emerged in such kind of lifestyle situation, that is pastoral lifestyle situation, like say Christianity, Judaism, Islam, and so forth in Central Asia and West Asia, there you find that natural entities are desacralized. So in fact, such forms of worship where natural forces are made to be sacred and so forth, that is not to be seen in these religions. This is in contrast to what we have in India in the Vedic times and later Vedic times, when of course pastoralism was a way of life, but it was alongside the emergence of agriculture, and it gradually meant that people had started living at one place for a considerable period of time, and some of the natural entities are actually regarded as sacred. Indra, Varun, Agni, and so forth, the Vedic gods are actually embodiments of natural forces. And so the tendency is, in such communities which is making progress towards, or which is trying to come to terms with a new lifestyle which is settled, which is sedentarized, as was the case in the Vedic and later Vedic times, we find that one tended to be respectful towards nature and natural forces, because quite a lot depended on the mood of the nature. So they wanted to propitiate natural gods or embodiments of natural forces so as to make their life secure and comfortable. This is in contrast to an out pastoral lifestyle, which requires one to move from, constantly keep moving from one place to other for grazing purpose, for foraging and so forth. So this is something that we need to understand with respect to some kind of a structured response to lifestyle or changing cultures. And of course, all these ecological concerns get articulated through religiosity, through attitudes, through rituals and so forth, for which we have a plethora of examples coming from ancient Indian history and culture, be it Rigvedic gods or other rituals associated with natural forces and natural cycles and seasons and so forth. Now, having discussed this, let's now understand as to what is happening when agriculture becomes the mainstay of economy and lifestyle for a society, and the kind of cultural articulation in such changes and in such times. And when we see that, of course, agriculture in a way means that mankind has started fiddling with nature and has or has come to a stage where he is not completely dependent on the natural products. Rather, they are trying to create something new by fiddling with nature, by manipulating nature and so forth, and that gives a fair degree of confidence to control nature. Of course, this sense of controlling nature is not very absolute in agricultural societies, but it is ambivalent. And of course, since we said that if we adopt historical perspective, we cannot use absolutist principles to understand the varieties also, because such cultural responses always carry the substratum of continuity from past as well. So quite a few habits, quite a few rituals, quite a few attitudes are actually a carryover from past, and they combine with the changed circumstances where nature is not regarded as something which is a direct extension of one's life or man's life. So the disjunction is very much apparent, but this ambivalence is also seen where a little bit of dependence on natural cycles and natural phenomena is also articulated through, say, festivals, rituals, and religiosity, but at the same time, particularly in an expanding agricultural society, as was the case post 6th century BC in North India in particular, and subsequently also in South India, we find that there is fair degree of the sense of capturing or conquering nature, which is fast coming up and getting articulated through cultural habits and cultural practices also. And since agriculture involves production of crops, and crops depend fairly on weather conditions, monsoon, there is harvesting season, there is sowing season and so forth. Therefore, that sense with respect to the resources that now mankind has under command, that sense of dependence on nature is somewhat diluted, but not diluted completely either, because for several reasons one has to depend on nature, and the agricultural cycle itself is almost an extension of, particularly in prehistoric times, pre-artificial irrigation times, it is an extension of weather conditions. So the strategies adopted to exploit resources which are available in the vicinity, because ecology is about using such resources, we find that there is no complete extermination of other resources merely for increase in crop yield and so forth, but as we said, that there is fair degree of ambivalence. So some concern for conserving or restrained usage of resources can also be seen. And this is something which is evident in several ritual practices, even in agricultural societies. In the pre-industrial agrarian societies of Rajasthan, some communities of Rajasthan living alongside the Aravalli range, we find that this is particularly with respect to the practice called orangs, where the clearing of agricultural resources or even forest resources by iron implements is forbidden, and one could clear the area around for agrarian resources or for forest resources by using wooden tools or wooden sticks and other implements, but not of iron. Of course, the idea beneath this is that with iron implements, these resources or these products can be exterminated, can be exploited in a big scale at a very fast pace, and that is something that they don't want. That is something that has to be guarded against. And the cultural practice of forbidding using iron implements which can fast lead to depletion of these resources is very much there. So through such examples one can understand the continuation of a past practice in the changed circumstances. At the same time, we also can decode through this cultural practice the sense of ambivalence that is very much characteristic of an agricultural society. So that is one aspect of agrarian societies and the kind of relationship that they enter into through cultural articulations of rituals and festivals and practices and collective behavior, so far as ecology is concerned. Now, religiosity, ethics, since they are all part of culture, they are born of such ecological constraints or the kind of attitude and relationship with which mankind enters into with natural resources, with ecology, with environment at different points of time in history. If you recall, yesterday we had spoken of some sacred groves. Now, sacred groves are in fact kind of cultural, you can say cultural tools through which the principle of conservation, natural conservation was propagated or was achieved in the pre-modern times. And some of these practices even continue to the present times. The principle behind it is that you require conservation of say a patch of land on account of the vegetational resources, on account of some medicinal plants that grow on that patch, on account of several other environmental requirements which could have been extremely critical for the survival of the communities around that patch. And in order to continue this practice, I'm just offering a functional kind of explanation for this. And in order to maintain continuity of such collective behavior, it gets religiously sanctioned. And therefore, no one dares to violate it, and therefore the continued survival of communities get ensured. And therefore, in the absence of well set laws and punitive measures or penal codes, etc., in the pre-modern times, these were the means and ways offered by culture, offered by different aspects of culture through norms, through religiosity, through ethics, and so forth, by making some patches sacred and so forth, that this kind of environmental concern was carried through or was carried across generations. And the examples of sacred groves can be had from several places. There are other, India is a fascinating country in terms of the variety of cultural responses that we can use in order to understand it. In fact, it is not very fixed kind of a thing that one mode of resource use will elicit one kind of or a definite kind of cultural response, but by and large it is the pattern that we get to see that we are talking of. For instance, Salbhanjika is something that we come across time and again in Indian history and culture, where there is depiction of tree and lady is a woman is embracing the tree, and the obvious connotation is the reproductive aspect of women as well as the tree. So here you have the flora and the fauna, both regenerative aspect, both fertility aspects getting highlighted and celebrated, getting stylized through such depictions. So one can go on and pick up examples from local places to decode such attitudes towards nature, and one can try to understand, and these things, such exercise can be well taken by the students who are viewing this program to understand their own locality and the practices and heritage from past or some past practices which has to do something with environment and nature, and they can try to find out the earliest reference of such practice and how they have continued over a period of time, the high and the low ebb that it has undergone, and what is the situation in the present times. What are the pressures of modern lifestyle which has led to these practices getting sidelined or having become almost kind of fossilized ritual practice or so forth. But an incisive student of history should always be on the lookout for the cultural decodation of such practices. Now, coming to the say modern times or industrial times, or as we discussed yesterday in terms of modes of resource use, industrial mode of resource use. Here we are encountered with a situation where technology comes in a big way. It alters the scale and mode of exploitation of resources, so much so that till the pre-industrial times, on account of technological limitations of transportation and communication, basically the pressure of the human population on the natural resources, be it water, soil, air, or the mines or the mineral resources lying beneath the earth, they were all localized. Even in agricultural situation, on account of limited mobility and limited transportation and communication methods, the pressure was very much localized. So if one area had huge population, be it human or cattle population, then the stress of this population was felt only on the resources which are local to that patch where the population subsists. But in the industrial times, on account of changes and rapid changes in transportation and communication technologies, and the ease with which one can import goods and services from far off places, a major change happened, and that was that you have the density of population at one place, and the resources are getting exploited from far off areas. And this is facilitated, of course, as we said, by increase or development in transportation and communication, and also by a new factor which becomes very central to the culture of industrial society, and that is market. Market is coming in industrial society. If we adopt historical perspective, then it is the new god. It is an agency or institution on which mankind depends the most in order to fulfill one's requirements. So what earlier was desired through prayers and hymns and different rituals, now it is the market and the purchasing capacity of an individual which ensures that we get those objects or articles, or to use a more technical word, commodities, because they can be bought and sold. Now, with the coming of the market, what we have is that if we look at it historically, since agricultural society had encroached upon the natural resources, be it the jungles, be it the forests and so forth, therefore the resources which are not locally available, even they are sought to be consumed by a population which is living in a particular area but is not having access to these resources from local area. So through market, through improved transport and communication, they can get it from elsewhere also. And that meant that ecology, or the vulnerability of the equilibrium between the regeneration of natural resources and human consumption is no more localized. So it is the colonial experience which suggests to us that in fact the needs of the British industries in terms of raw materials was something which started getting answered or started getting satisfied from the raw materials which are available in colonies. So what earlier was a trade relationship between two countries, say Britain and India, with the coming of industrial revolution in Britain, say in the 1770s, 1780s onwards, and subsequently in other parts of West European countries also, this relationship of trade network between the two countries got transformed in a colonial situation of exploitation, where the raw materials and the natural resources of India were increasingly utilized by the upcoming British industries, and that's how colonialism began, so far as Indian experience is concerned. And we can see that the stress of European consumption or the world consumption started being felt in colonies like India and also in China. So that is something which we need to understand it with reference to the changing contours of ecology and the kind of changed attitude that mankind developed towards natural resources. Now, as we discussed a few moments before, that the attitude is to conquer nature altogether. That ambivalence which was there earlier is also gone. The ambivalence with respect to the agrarian societies, that is also gone. So man is out to conquer nature, and nature is there to be tamed, and that's how technologies are supposed to emerge. And the confidence develops that with the advent of technological you can say times or technological tools and devices, one can completely tame nature and natural forces, and that gives a different kind of attitude, cultural attitude towards nature. So we no more have nature or natural forces made sacred. Rather, it is the market which is fast taking the place of such natural forces. It is market which is becoming sacred. It is market principles which govern the lifestyle of mankind. It is the sense of reciprocity. It is the reification. Everything, even emotions get reified. There is a price tag for everything, and so that's the trajectory. If one has to look at it from cultural point of view, that's the trajectory of attitude that develops in the industrial times. And this has, of course, all these changes get manifested in several ways, and we all are very much aware of it. One has to look at the conflict situations also, where a particular community or society which is socialized to the idea of nature as an extension of man's life, and there is industrial community which is regarding nature as something other, something else, which is out to be tamed through technology and conquest and so forth. So it leads to some kind of conflict situations which again is manifested through cultural tools and other cultural manifestation of such confrontation is something that we all are very familiar of. In fact, if you look at some of the some of the Bollywood pictures, say in the 1960s and even in 1970s, they very graphically bring out this tension, this inherent tension in the contrasting lifestyles and the cultural response that the two lifestyles generate. One is village-oriented, agriculture-oriented lifestyle, and the other is consumption-oriented, market-style, industrial lifestyle, which is actually about contrasting ways of resource use and attitude towards nature and technology. And some of these films, of course, in order to latch on to the existing nostalgia about a past age, ends with the triumph of the earlier form, that is agrarian form over the industrial form, and that also has, in Indian situation, that also has to do a little bit with the anti-colonial sentiment with which we, on account of our freedom movement, got socialized to in a big way. So as a student of history and culture, we need to unravel these cultural manifestations of essentially a conflict between ecological attitudes in the changing times, be it agricultural or industrial and so forth. Another just passing reference to the contrasting or changing attitudes towards nature and the lingerings that it has is something that we can have even from say Ayurveda, which is another facet of Indianness so far as medicine and therapy is concerned. Now the very fact that the treatises, the master treatises of Ayurveda, be it Charak or Shushruta, were composed, were compiled around the time when say pastoral way of life is giving way to agrarian way of life, and this is the time when Ayurveda develops as a very sophisticated epistemology or a very defined set of medical principles and therapy and so forth. This is the time of Charak and Shushruta. We find that the attitude towards health, the attitude towards medicine is also in fact very wholesome. So it is the basic ingredients of life, happiness, they all revolve around some very identified natural you can say entities. So it is soil, air and water, and it is the sense of equilibrium between all these components of nature, which is regarded as the perfection of health. So a healthy body as per Ayurveda is something where there is equilibrium between the three doshas, Kapha, Vayu and Pitta. So if there is equilibrium between or among all these three components, then that body is free from any disease, and in fact all therapies are aimed towards attaining such state of human functioning where this equilibrium is attained. And this also one can understand with reference to the attitude towards nature, which was a residue from the past lifestyle that we just talked of, and that is nature as an extension of human body, and you can't dissociate the impact of the immediate surroundings. In fact, Paryavaran in Sanskrit is understood. The meaning of this word is something that encircles you. So Paryavaran is the avaran. Avaran is outside your body, outside your existence. So it is the layer, it is the encirclement. And this encirclement is with respect to these natural entities like soil, water, air and so forth. So these become the variables, and in fact the classification in Ayurveda also, the taxonomical principles which are adopted, in fact areas are delineated like Anup area and so forth, Jangal area, the Sadharan area which is an average of the two, is also on account of ecological entities. There is a fascinating work by Francis Zimmerman, Jungle and the Aroma of Meat, which actually tries to look at Ayurvedic principles through ecological angle. And in fact, it says that these frontiers of Ayurveda, which are actually medical frontiers, Anup area and jungle area and so forth, they are coterminous with the modern day delimitations of the areas which are malaria prone or which are somewhat free from malaria and so forth, where malaria is endemic and where it is not endemic and so forth. But they also are coextensive with several other environmental and ecological details. So it is the dry kind of land with very sparse vegetation, which is actually regarded as jungle area, and the Anup area is that area where water is abundant, and it is a marshy kind of a land. And of course, it is the ecological condition which of these contrasting areas which generate own kinds of diseases and malfunctioning of body, and the therapy is actually about countering the two extremes by introducing medicines from each other. So if there is amplification of one component of the three doshas, then it is sought to be neutralized by adding something to the contrary, so that the equilibrium is maintained. At a very broad level, at a very broad attitudinal level, or at a very broad cultural level, one can see that it is this sense of interdependence, it is this sense of having balance, it is this sense of, with the sense of harmonizing with the nature around us, which actually goes on to give the essence and substance to Ayurveda, which is again another fascinating part of Indian culture and history. And therefore, these are some of the ways and means and principles through which one can understand the ecological aspect of India and the culture aspect of India, the kind of response which are inherent or to some extent are generated by these ecological variables. So this is it about I think at a very broad level. If one has to delineate some pattern, if one has to bring out very broad pattern of culture and ecology, that's the way we can have a look at it.
Thank you so much, sir. And friends, so we have discussed ecology in Indian culture in two parts, and tomorrow we shall look at Indian culture and urbanism. So I would say that you would stay on the lookout for this particular lecture if it is of relevance to you. And with this, I'd like to thank sir for coming here. Thank you so much, sir. And I'd like to close the lecture by saying a very good day to all of you. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.